Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bashem Abishai Bashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS. Salutations to all my fellow laborers that are doing this work in truth and in sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of GMS here in Chicago, coming at you another lesson. First, I'd like to acknowledge my fellow laborers that do this work in truth and sincerity. Yet again, to the confusion of face joined unto our ranks, to the hopefully elect, the Akwaf that are listening and learning. To you, I say Shalom. A little tired and battling. Health's been up and down, so I pray that you brothers pray for me. You Akwaf, pray for me. Baba Kasha. It's like I'm good one day and the next day, this is crazy. But my spirit is not broken. I have to come to terms that I'm not as strong as I used to be. I'm not the man that I used to be. But with all the food and the bombardment of chemicals in every aspect of life, you never know what it is that we're dealing with. But I'm gonna get into this lesson, and this is about this 4,000-year-old tomb that they dug up, that they unearthed in Egypt. And as you look at the images on there, the question is, where is Netanyahu and his people? All right? You have to remember that Israel was born amongst the Egyptians. They went into Egypt 70 people and they came out millions. Who do you think their sons were making children with? So this also kills the whole issue, the lie that the so-called white man has. Because you look on an Esau Edom, you look on a job application and he'll have Middle East, he'll have Caucasian, of Caucasian descent if you're from Northern Africa. These are people from Northern Africa. These are your so-called Middle Easterns. Here they are. Right? Both the Hamites and the Israelites. Okay, we're going to read some scriptures to prove that. But let's play one of these videos. One at the top is RT. Because you notice you didn't see this in American mainstream TV at all. Not at all. I didn't. At least I didn't. I'm looking through. I don't see CBS, NBC, ABC, none of that. All right? Because those are owned by imposter Jewish people who claim to be from this place, to claim to have been the people who were mixed and mingled and living amongst these people on the screen, which they are not.
How can you tell an ordinary dog from a super tour dog? You just can't.
Now to a major discovery in Egypt. Archaeologists have discovered some remarkable paintings in a tomb that's more than 4,000 years old. What's in it?
And watch how no one in any of these, though, will acknowledge what they're looking at. They're showing you that it is from Egypt and that it was found in Egypt and was a wealthy man's tomb, so he was someone of importance. But they just seem not to really talk about the brownness, the darkness, or what they so-called ignorantly would say blackness of their skin. All right, mind that.
What have they found? Here's RT's Trinity Chavez.
The deserts of Egypt continue to reveal the secrets of a fascinating ancient civilization. Archaeologists have announced the discovery of a tomb that has inscriptions and colorful artwork dating back more than 4,000
Now, this is an Israelite woman.
years ago.
All right, and let's go back a little bit. And we all, you often hear the men of GMS talk about different shades of brown. So you have a dark chocolate, more of a chocolate brown, more of a light caramel brown, and another light caramel brown. This man and this sister are very similar in color. Okay? If you're looking at, my pointer here with my pen. All right? They're not that different in color whatsoever. All right?
Dating back more than 4,000 years ago. The
So
country's
more than
Ministry of
4,000
Antiquities
years
has
ago.
unveiled a well-preserved tomb that is thought to belong to a nobleman during the 5th dynasty.
The tomb for a guy named Hui. He was the nobility king, and also he was a judge. The tomb is 4,000.
This is also showing you too that the people in Egypt are not, those are mostly Edomites and Ishmaelites. They're not the people that take you on the tours to go see the pyramids are not the Egyptians. That's Ishmael. You have an Ishmaelite and Edomite mixture over there in the land of Egypt today, because that's not Ishmael on that wall either.
400 years old, back to the old kingdom.
It's a private high official tomb who lived during the reign of the king Djedkare, the 8th king of the 5th dynasty, almost the 24th century BC. The colors are exceptionally well preserved inside the tomb.
The tomb, a part of
So
a
he
massive
said the colors are well preserved. Okay? The colors are well preserved. So you mean to tell me that a bunch of so-called white people painted these images of themselves in Egypt? But according to them, brown people, that's why they came up with that bullshit Hamitic theory, all right? Which they call the people of Egypt were different from the sub-Saharan Negroes or the sub-Saharan dark people. When the Egyptians are the sons of Ham and the sub-Saharan people are the sons of Ham. And Israel, the sons of Shem, all right, because they're from the line of Shem, actually. Abraham came out of the line of Shem. It just proves that the truth that what we're saying is true, man. All right? That the Israelites were a different brown people, a different race of people. But they came to be in the land of Egypt. All right, so let's read some scriptures, man. This is Deuteronomy 10 and 22. And it reads, Thy fathers went down into Egypt 70 persons, and now, O Yahweh, thy power hath made thee as the stars of heaven for multitude. So they went in there 70 people and came out millions. Why? Because they were dealing with, even when they left there, some of the Egyptians left out with them. All right? Why? Because they had been mingling and mixing and marrying. The Israelite men were making children, family. It also proves that you are whoever your father is. All right? Before so they became a great nation amongst the Hamites. Among Mizraim. Okay? Next scripture. This is Joshua 24 and 4. It said, I gave unto Isaac Jacob and Esau. And I gave unto Esau Mount Seir, which is south of Israel. Right? Not that far from where these paintings were found. All right? To possess it. But Jacob and his children went down into Egypt. So I actually just have to go back and collect my statement about Esau being from that part of the world. Even though he wasn't from here, he was from Mount Seir, but they won't tell you that. Because Esau is the only pale people that were from the so-called Middle East, but they're not going to tell you that. All right, because they're going to try to tell you that so-called white people came from Europe when that's a lie. So the truth of the matter is, when they put on the applications that they're from the Middle East, they are, because Mount Seir is in the so-called Middle East. Just on the outside of Africa, the north western tip or northeastern tip of Africa. The land of Israel sits right there. All right, right next to it. And Mount Seir is just below the land of Israel. Okay, because Edom is Mount Seir. All right, but let's continue on. This is 1 Kings 3:1. And Solomon made affinity with Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and took Pharaoh's daughter and brought her into the city of David until he made an end of the building of his own house and all the house of Yahweh and the walls of Jerusalem round about. Why? Because he took on the Pharaoh's daughter and made her one of his wives. Right? You got to remember, Solomon had 1,000 wives. He had 300 concubines and 700 wives. And concubine just means lesser wife. Right? And there was no sin in them having wives. The concubines. There was no sin in it. With the sin that Solomon made was when he in his older age he got weak and started worshiping and allowing them to build their gods within the kingdom and that whole sort of thing. That's what brought Solomon down. Right? Which he never paid for those sins of Solomon either. He paid for them later on. But that's another lesson. All right? Let's go to the New Testament now. Let's go to Matthew. This is Matthew, the 2nd chapter and the 13th and 14th verse. And it says, and when they were departed, behold, the angel of Yahweh appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, arise and take the young child and his mother and flee into Egypt, and be thou until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek to destroy the child, to destroy him. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by the night and departed into Egypt. So, you mean to tell me that Benjamin Netanyahu, these pale Edomites, wouldn't hid among these people? That the Jewish people of the day that claim to be Holocaust survivors, that they hid among these people today, or back then, those people of today? Yeah, okay. You believe that. You believe that vanilla ice cream is chocolate. This is Acts 7 and 9, which the whole chapter of Acts, all right, the subject point of the chapter of the book of Acts, the 7th chapter, the subject matter point of chapter 9 is the children of the patriarchs of Jacob. All right, and it reads, I'm going to start at verse 8. And he gave him a covenant of circumcision, and so Abraham begot Isaac, and circumcised him the 8th day, and Isaac begot Jacob, and Jacob begot the 12 patriarchs. And the patriarchs moved with envy, sold Joseph into Egypt. And that's how they ended up going into Egypt later on, because that was the Lord's plan. So through Egypt, through Egypt, yes, through Egypt, through the patriarch Joseph, who was the head tribe of the northern kingdom, who basically became a savior unto Israel, all right? And that's the so-called Puerto Ricans today, like it or not, believe it or not, okay? Through Joseph, great favor was given unto the patriarchs in the land of Egypt, which is how we came to be and how we came to flourish. So the question again is, Benjamin Netanyahu, or Benjamin Netan, not a Jew, you know, what's the little chick with the book? Anne Frank, that wicked eugenics witch, Margaret Sanger, you know, Pastor or Rabbi Finkelstein, Jeffrey Levy. How did they hide among these people? Somebody's lying. Somebody is lying. Zechariah, the 9th chapter and the 6th verse clearly says that a bastard should dwell in Ashdod. That a false fraudulent people, and Ashdod is a port city in Tel Aviv. Call halal Yahweh Bashem Shai Bashem Rakak Wadash Wa Abab Babal.